Mike.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here as we get things going once again here for PGI 2018. And of course, the team called Little Phase by the people of China is able to come out in flying colors. OMG. You know, in an interview before this tournament, Zhao Rong stated, "I became a professional gamer to become a champion." And in game number 2, they certainly did that. What a showing coming out there from OMG.
Looks like Xiao Rong was actually Xiao Right.
That's right. Hey, I like it a lot. But overall, what a performance by them, especially towards the end. I love the 2-2 split coming out from them. Esther tried to make it a bit more of a game than we expected it to be, but OMG did well.
They did extremely well. They pushed at the right time. They pinched everybody out. Then make sure they stayed low when they had to. Effective.
Absolutely. They had Xanadu to their south as well, but they made a very, very smart approach not to go into that push fully because they didn't know if they would commit it, they would have been open to other areas as well. But they waited until Xanadu had to push them, and then at that moment of time, they went against 2 men at the last very second, wiped them out, moved into Na'Vi, wiped those out as well. It was beautiful to watch.
Let's start at the very beginning, of course. We've completely confirmed by the looks of things, 4 AM. It's going to be going down towards that military area. They got there much easier this time, which is very nice for them. Xanadu moving up a few houses here and there against a Vanguard, and I'm wondering overall if that comes to play in a few of these later games.
That's a very sneaky move that they're trying to make indeed, and you copped onto it very, very well. We were watching this together, and we noticed that Vanguard had less looting space available, and that's exactly why, because Xanadu seemed to want to make their presence noted. They want to leave those doors open so that the Vanguard don't push too far into North Georgia Bowl. That will leave a Vanguard with a very bad positioning and also very bad loot. Effectively removing 1/3 of their active looting area will in turn result to less fights, less commitment to fights, because their loot is not going to be that great.
I like it's very clever because they don't loot the whole area. They just leave the doors open on the side, and then they go to the higher priority. They go towards the police station, go towards the library. They take early position, but leave the middle open because they only have 2 guys, so they can't loot that. So they make sure that Vanguard, they kind of stay out of that area, making sure their back is safe because they don't want to push into unknown territory.
Once we saw that west circle, of course, appear there to begin things, we saw a moment where a lot of teams have to rotate down from the north down towards the south a little bit. One place that I saw very much a hot spot during a lot of these qualifiers was that small yellow just south of Everest, where a Vanguard initially positioned themselves. However, WTSG came in and was able to kind of clean that position up. And, you know, 1 scout at the moment here of NJ is something that, well, talk to us about it, because it can be a little bit problematic.
I mean, honestly, the further we've gone into the competitive scene, we see more and more that people are not afraid. You called it a pufferfish. It was very much a pufferfish a few months ago. People didn't want to push something that was already taken because it's the first circle, and you can take positions that are open for free. Right. But here, welcome to South Georgia, they wanted that position. They knew there was only a pufferfish. They go in and stab it, and it's done. And they even kept Lost alive, even though he did get knocked. And I mean, third person pushing into this, they tried to nade it. Unfortunately, the nade, it hit into the bathtub, so it didn't blow on top of him. So super unlucky, but still smart. And again, I mean, that's where we see Liquid again. They haven't done it thus far, but pushing with 2 scouts in the future, we're going to see so much more where pufferfish is not enough. You need multiple people to hold down compounds.
And speaking of Liquid, they went I could keep going because they went very wide to get into that next second circle to actually try and find themselves a spot. So kind of a slight change up. They were held by Team Gates on, I believe it was the east side, and then they decided to go so far north. So that was a player that in the end didn't quite work out for them. I guess they got in, but later on they lost quite a few members.
It didn't work to the best of the advantage of their play. They did try to make their way in safely, and that's exactly what they achieved. Unfortunately, from that point forward, it wasn't necessarily the easiest transition. They had a lot of teams keeping them outside. But yes, very, very smart outside of East Rajhawk to actually go all the way north and go to the westernly most bridge at the North Georgia Bowl and actually come in from the circle from that. They bit the blue a little bit there. They had to put in some energy drinks towards, getting their HP back up, but they stayed alive, which wouldn't have happened if they would have pushed from the east. So Liquid, really known for their smart, wise rotations, and this is their chance.
I mean, it's perfect. You see a far western shrink, you know everybody's going to try to come in from that position, and going on a rotation, that circle is the last circle you could do such a rotation in the blue. So perfect play by them. Unfortunately, next circle, pushed east. I mean, the circle, we did have some, far shrinks, but it kind of ended up centering around the middle, around the field area, which was not perfect for them, but still everybody was able to get into the middle easily.
Let's talk about our CIS teams. We had a Vanguard positioned in a spot where they were easily able to kind of hold for the most part, apart from them very, very far away by the looks of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Na'Vi were actually scouting far ahead to make sure that the next move that they're going to make is going to be one that is without any kind of issues, and that's exactly what they achieved. Na'Vi, the only team that had visibility against the Vanguard, and they took their shots. They indeed found them. They found a knock, and then other teams actually took down members of the Vanguard. So that means that Navi's moment to push was there. They knew exactly what they had to do. They took their vehicles from a very unfortunate position and found themselves smack bang in the middle of a very late circle.
Something that I want to touch upon here is the Korean teams. Gen.G Gold and Gen.G Black seemed far more comfortable in this game compared to our first game. Is that fair to say?
I think they've kind of found themselves again. I mean, it's teams with competitive experience. It's teams with experience playing on LAN. They have competitive experience. But I kind of felt like the first game they needed to find themselves. Here they did. Amazing play by them, pushing. I mean, they didn't just end up in the circle. They pushed for it. They worked for it, especially Black.
Absolutely. They are indeed very courageous, it seems like. Both Gen.G teams don't want to hold off at any kind of point in time. They will pick up the fight. They will pick up the weapons and put a really, really good fight with them.
Absolutely. And we saw eventually that kind of Gen.G push on towards where Na'Vi was, which was very, very important and kind of pivotal with OMG eventually coming in.
I mean, the position where you had the Eastern shrink, and they knew Na'Vi knew there were many teams coming in from the Western and the Southern area.
Yeah.
They should have stayed there, but they wanted to, they had to, because they're kind of pinned down. But when you have, 3 teams coming in from the west, pushing in towards the western side of the circle, and they're like there, they had to make a decision either to stay, try to defend it, which was impossible, or move even further in towards the circle, because they got pinched between 3 teams, and they just, third person peeking over Riches, they got completely wiped because they had to stay there.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate positioning there for Na'Vi. They really did the best with what they could.
I feel, especially kind of when we talk about Gen.G, both teams feeling a little bit more comfortable. You saw Knights have a really good spot in the field. That kind of defilade that's almost synonymous with very good coverage from almost every single angle. But Gen.G Gold was able to just run on up and be able to take that away from them very easily. So it shows, again, those kind of small moments where they are feeling more comfortable, right?
Absolutely, and the way they pushed that was so well coordinated. The team effort that came into that one was beautiful. Nades first, and they went in. They made sure that they didn't focus on the Nox, but instead trying to eliminate everybody that was left alive.
Yeah.
The Pittsburgh Knights had absolutely no chance against Gold in that fight.
Also leaving one player behind, effectively trying to take down. So if they peeked, they saw the vehicles coming in. So leaving one player behind, making sure that they could, if anybody peeked up, they're going to get the hammer.
That's fair to say. Let's pull it back a little bit from what we saw kind of mid-game area-esque. We saw WTSG with a very interesting split. Gaxi left up towards that small shack. 2 players move on around 4 AM. We've seen, again, as they mentioned in the commentary, that has been very aggressive. But WTSG kind of seems to have their number with the positioning, right?
I mean, their flank position, the help they got from teammates, but also Gaxi holding that down, taking extreme advantage of third person. He waited for them to push. When they pushed, sidestep, shoulder peek, take one down. Next one, he peeked through the smoke
window
and take him down as well.
Yeah.
And then you see Vard coming in with the suppressing fire effectively from another flank where he was sitting back. I think it was, I'm not sure who it was, but they were sitting behind the tree. They had to smog up, and then they just died from that. Yes, they did sacrifice Gaxi from that, but perfect play.
And there's been a bit of a shake-up by the looks of things there, as overall this is the current standing, although Ghost Gaming doesn't seem to be there, so maybe this is...
Oh, round 2 ranking.
Round 2 ranking alone. This is why you're there to save me. I get it. Thank you very much. But oh my god, is able to take themselves that big point number from that game, of course, and it really feels like now, from game number 1 coming into game number 2, we see that our Asian Eastern teams, I should say, feeling far more comfortable going up against mainly unknowns for them, because they don't have to butt heads with them week on week on week.
Yeah, it does seem like it indeed. It does show that TPP is indeed the home of the Asian teams. And there you go, the tournament rankings do come in. OMG first place. 1,000 points already.
Very nice stuff there coming out from them. Obviously, OMG and 4AM talk to each other quite a bit in terms of that Chinese region. You have Ghost Gaming there, still at second place with that first chicken dinner of the day. And look at that, Xanadu. We didn't really talk too much about them from game number 2, but they had a ton of kills, and they were able to place very nicely for themselves overall. Good stuff.
I mean, first game they snuck into second place.
Yeah,
we talked about it, and I was like, okay, if they get this circle, they're gonna get second place even with 7 teams left. So perfect salvage when they need to, and frag out when they're in a position to. So nice play for them. They deserve to be there.
Yeah, and even it was a bit harder in the first game to snake in that way because they're coming from Lumber Mill, crossing to open territory, being at the mercy of Liquid, but they stayed alive somehow. So a very, very good tactical approach for the first game. And the second match as well, couldn't put up a fight against OMG, but still they did great effort. Xanadu, I'm impressed with what they're bringing to the table.
Team Liquid in game number 1 gets 6th place, then they get 8th place at this one. It was a bit harder for them. We saw them constantly being picked out at the side there after they come in from the north.
Especially on the, I mean, in this circle here, in this open field, if you don't get a foot in the third circle, you're going to be kept out. They had to fight all the way in. They struggled all the way in. So for me, nice effort getting them into top 10 in that position with that shift away from them. That's good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was the best that they could do indeed with that rotation that we were talking about earlier. And as you said, it's a lot of open fields towards where the circle ended there. So Liquid didn't necessarily not put up a good fight, but they just didn't have the chance to put up a fight because everywhere were teams.
Some big names on Gen G Black as well. Of course, big fan favorites. People like Yunru, a big streamer in the Asian region, and people like Dramatic, who actually, overall, you know, we're talking to him before in the interviews, etc., and things like that. You know, he's Japanese, and he's trying to learn German, and he was asked, oh, what do you know in German? He merely said, Guten Tag. So I was very impressed there by Dramatic. And Knights, of course, there, though, they positioned themselves in what I thought a great spot, but they just kind of got busted there. Even though we saw Voxic being able to kind of get himself out a few nice shots. So what do you make of Knights' position currently in this tournament?
I mean, here, that position where they had that, they took it too early. It was too early for them to take it. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them. It's hard to hold down when it's not a compound. Yeah. But it's too early. Everybody just collapsed on them. Everybody was on higher hills. They had high ground on them. It didn't really work out for them. But then again, this is not the circle I like the most. I mean, these western South of George open field area, they do not like it because it's hard to get into late. And they, of course, coming in from the east, they will always get late into that.
And we always talk about getting there and timing and how important timing is and to get into a very important position. Yeah. But we never discuss, or rarely do we discuss, that it's also, you can be a bit too early into a very good position that can be detrimental at that point in time. So indeed, timing is very, very important.
All right,
TPP.
Well, thank you very much, gents. It's time now to go to game number 3. We're at the halfway point of day number 1 here for the PGI 2018. Let's head over to the commentators, and there's some new faces as we get into game number 3.
That's right, we're new and we're beautiful faces, mainly this guy, WTF Moses. It's great to have you here in wonderful, sunny and steamy Berlin.
It is definitely warm, but it really adds to the atmosphere. It's been hot in here. These games have been incredible so far, and I'm really looking forward to see if this trend of the Chinese teams continues to go. I mean, it's been incredible to watch so far.
Yeah, you must love it. NA actually looked like they were going really well. We saw Poro going, hey, NA's doing well. Like, Consistency, please. Consistency, right? Yeah, but they're looking really great. And I always thought like the first 2 days would be a really great time for all the Southeast Asian teams who are used to working on third-person perspective would just be able to come into their own and feel really, really comfortable on this very intimidating stage.
Well, at this stage, it's kind of their comfort zone, like you just mentioned, but now we've seen notable teams kind of maybe missing a step, not really used to that style of play right now. Teams like Liquid, WTSG, they're just not quite putting it together just yet. But this is the advantage for these teams. This is the time to strike for them, and we've been seeing it so far. Yeah,
I cannot wait to actually see exactly how heavily they also contest even further. Like, the drops haven't been too far away, but as you said, we're talking downstairs during the first 2 rounds. The pace of play really does change when you play in this third-person mode. Yeah. And that's what the teams have to get used to.
And you can see that in the vision management. Something that we were kind of talking about, at least the way I thought about it, was that FPP players could typically be good at third-person perspective because they have that quick reaction time. And then when the third-person players went to first-person, they would lose that advantage to vision. But it's actually been the opposite, where they're using that vision, that aggression, much more efficiently than we've seen from the Western European and North American teams.
Yep. I can't wait to actually get into this game. We almost had a bit of a quick counter into it, and I was getting excited for half a second. Ready for that smooth transition. but not quite yet. We do actually have the plane up on our list. I don't know, actually, we probably shouldn't say, in case the players have the headsets
we won't
off.
spoil it for
Yeah,
you,
we
but
will.
you know, the one thing I've really liked to see so far is how the Chinese teams have used their aggressive mindset. We did see that crazy 4 AM push onto Ghost that I think that if they had maybe used a little bit more utility, threw a flashbang over the top, threw a smoke grenade down, that they wouldn't have that meat grinder experience that they had with Ghost in game number 1. Game number 2, a little bit similar, but again, we saw some really aggressive, and for OMG, a nice movement, a nice split, and they really attacked, and they did very well.
Yeah, that's right. The panel was talking about it, where Black ended up going into this 1-1-1 kind of, and then one player was down. How do you try and save him? You drive in and get shot down when you do it, as opposed to just playing pairs, playing really solid positioning. That's actually something I was looking forward to from one of the other teams. It was, of all teams to actually flag right now, it was actually the Pittsburgh Knights was one of the teams I really loved, seeing how they would always use their vehicles, and we're seeing more and more teams utilizing this, especially knowing they can third-person peek over these vehicles and just bunker in. Of course, this doesn't always work that well, as some teams overcommit themselves. Team Gates is one of the teams that you were bringing up as well, going in a little too deep, and you don't have that many vehicles to make that many walls.
Team Gates seems to find themselves surrounded on all sides every time they try and get into a team fight, and that's really been affecting how they can move and essentially deal with that aggressive play that we've been seeing from lots of different teams. Now for the Knights, a team that is aggressive in their own right, they have just not been able to transition that well. They're not hitting those very important rotations, and it's just not working for them.
I'm looking forward to seeing like the other teams, the other unsung heroes. Na'Vi was actually in a bit of a rough spot, in a ditch, basically playing in an area which is normally their own. The western front is Na'Vi's area to try and fight, and in the last couple of rounds, in the last 2 rounds, because we only had 2, it always seemed like they were a little bit late into their positioning, or they were in too deep. They couldn't just play their normal movement style game. Like, how does the CIS team, which a lot of people had eyes on coming into this tournament, kind of turn that around too?
Well, for Na'Vi, it seems that they, again, another aggressive team, someone that uses that pressure and that skill, that quick shot to win advantages in first-person perspective. But in this tournament, at least so far, they have not been able to translate and deal with that extra vision that's being handed to their enemies. If they come in aggressive, all the teams that they're fighting do is turtle for a little while, use that vision, move around them, and deal with them, and they've been getting flanked because of that, and it's really been slowing them down.
Yeah. So maybe Na'Vi can't do it, but they've still been positioning quite well. They're actually 7th position on the overall leading board. Of course, the only real big Western team that's actually up there is Ghost, GG, who are up there. They're actually in 2nd position, able to claim 12 kills in that first round. Second round was almost the split opposite. So they got 1st position and 12 kills in the first round, then it was 12th position and 2 kills in the second round. Kind of very polarizing for such a team.
I think what went right for Ghost in the first round was their ability to kind of react to what was happening around them. They were kind of sitting as a unit, using the wall around the small Milta power plant to kind of peek over at their enemies, be opportunistic. But again, that comes with circle luck to an extent, where you have to kind of deal with it handed to you. But for the most part, I like the fact that they used that advantage. They took out a lot of teams, and they really crushed that first game. But in the second game, again, rotations, very, very different in first person than it is in third person.
Yeah, I'd just like to see what happens if they can deal better with like OMG rushing them on the edge of a wall in power. That was
I'm impressed.
How do you even get out of that situation?
Even the Korean teams, a really aggressive style, and when they have that advantage in vision as well, it's really difficult to deal with because you don't have the ability to really rush back. You have to react. You have to duck back behind cover. It's withering. You can't get away from it.
How do you actually stop a push like that? Do you just start like skying nades over the walls?
You have to use your utility. You have to use your utility. You have to get flashbangs out. You have to slow the advance. One thing I saw from, I believe it was Gaxi or Vard from WTSG against 4AM in the last match was that that utility smoke kind of blocking and starting throwing grenades over it. That way he can come out of cover in safety and use that cover to throw grenades. It didn't quite work out for him in the end because it was essentially a 4v1 or 3v1 at that stage. He did very well, but there just wasn't enough there for him to work with. Ultimately, he succumbed to either the zone or the enemies around him. But that little change of pace is super important.
Yeah. So at that point, it's like you start wondering, like, let me just drop down my ammunition count. I do not need 300 bullets.
It happens.
Maybe I go 110 because now the way the space inside the backpack has been changed around, especially for grenades, smokes. Like, it kind of like clogs up a little bit harder, a little bit faster than before.
It's really important to use that inventory management mindset. Pro players do this all the time where they have to decide what's more important, having 250 rounds of ammunition or having that extra first aid kit, having that extra grenade. And most times, utility and meds play a much bigger factor in games than that extra 50 or 100 rounds of ammunition.
Yeah, I also love it too, like the players always knew what they can get away with as far as like, I can actually med up because I can see over the rock. So as I'm medding, I'm doing it in safety, and I can back out of it and reposition at the right time. This is that whole vision advantage that comes in, and then your ability to actually use the utility, not just blindly prone in the grass and just hope to God that they don't find me. And first-person perspective, I just dream.
And really, even when you're trying to snake in on the edges of circles, when you're just trying to survive, just trying to get a little bit further into the round, you can't really sneak the same way in third person as you can in first, because your enemies have the ability to raise their camera and see into grass that they wouldn't otherwise be able to see into. So for those players that are trying to sneak away, we did see Wick again trying to play the smoke. He did his best. And really, it was that vision and sound that kind of gave him away. We've seen Wick in the past. There was a huge play by him in the qualifiers on the way here where he used that prone advantage and that first-person skill to really steal around from multiple teams and secure his placement here at this tournament.
And we actually saw the same from Miracle in the last round, right? Like he was that one last person just on the edge of the circle. It's like, you know what, I'm okay with this. Liquid Ibiza tries to do exactly the same thing. Unfortunately, he got caught out doing it. But just through the long grass in an area which was so, like, there was enough cover for you, and there was always a hay bale to try and obscure the vision. So it was a real odd area to try and end the circle. Nothing really big apart from a bunch of hay bales and a little bit of defilade.
One thing that's really been standing out to me for 4AM and OMG is how they've been moving as a team, how they have constantly moved, similar to what we see from FaZe in situations that, I mean, FaZe obviously not in this tournament, unfortunately for them, but the way they move, the way they play as a unit, that's extremely important when you're taking team fights. If you're spread out, if we've seen from teams like, again, Team Gates, who finds themselves constantly being picked apart, is that if you're moving as a unit, you can react as a team. That way you stay alive. Staying 4 strong, staying fully kitted, not losing your armor, your helmet, means so much in the end game, and you really have to keep that going at all times.
It was actually kind of funny because Ogun was one of the teams in the first round where we're just like,
that's
the
opposite side.
So they were sitting on the north, the west, and the south part of the circle, and it was like, you know what, just play for position. And then they got 3 kills when it happened because they played the corners and just surprised them. It was like, who the hell is going to be here without any kind of reinforcement at all? And they just ended the play, took the 15 points, and then
I mean, they're playing the odds in that instance. So there's a couple of different ways to play the circle. You can either crash middle and try and take a compound for yourself, which is a great strategy if you want to kind of solidify one area and use map control essentially to make sure that no one gets in your little zone. In their case, they actually ended up spreading to 4 corners of the zone and played the odds, hoping that the circle would shift to one of their players. And that's a valid play, but it means you can't compete.
I got some beautiful news for everyone in here and on the stream. Round 3 is underway. We are going straight horizontal, west to east. Everyone, start your fly, start your contesting. And actually, how far do they come out? This actually looks like a nice little plane for Na'Vi, at least to control the west coast.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want with this plane path. Essentially, you can go north, south. It doesn't really matter. It's not going to be hard to get to your designated loot area, if you will. But at the same time, this might be a little bit difficult for those who want to get to somewhere like the military base or Novo. So it's not going to be easy to try and rotate down there and eventually come back. But
how hard do you stay to that? Because a lot of teams have also been talking about like
we're going to go and see these guys here.
Is Mill Bay still the best place to go? I've got to cross over a bridge, and then the circle hits me up towards Stalber. It's like, okay, now I don't want any part of this at all.
You always want to minimize transitioning across water. You don't want to do that more than once if necessary. Obviously, if that's your only spot to go and loot safely, that's something that's going to factor in regardless. But if you have to cross that bridge more than once, let's say you...
no, Pino.
Throw
kill.
Oh, what a shame.
Myth have going to claim the first kill at least, and it's on the bumper of Honboya.
And that is the first kill of this game. And really, that is the risk when you're landing for vehicles. You can miss it by just a half as he drives directly into a rock.
That came out of nowhere, I swear. Like, this is not covered on my insurance.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's the risk. If you try and go for a vehicle and someone gets there first, you're really defenseless. There's nothing you can do unless you're... If you can dodge a ball, you can dodge a car, I guess, right? So, unfortunately, not going to work out for him.
That's the new mechanic that's obviously going to be added in, the drop, duck, and roll kind of thing. Will come along with the lift up.
it looks like Refund trying to just get situated here. They want to try and get back in their vehicle, collect everybody, get to their spot. And Chowhai, similar situation. Looks like they're kind of looking at each other here. And actually Mortify hanging out in the apartments. He's going to have some company here pretty quick.
We're going east a little bit harder.
Careful.
Okay, yeah, there's a little bit more concrete underneath that fence post.
Every third fence post is concrete. You got to watch out for that.
Yeah. So we are going to head east with this circle once more, and it's surrounded around both Lipovka as well as Mill to Power. Maybe you can get a lumber finish. That would be a nice little bit of a change.
This is a good thing for the Knights. Savage as well is there, and that Milta region really dense with players. As Team Gates, Mossy, well aware that he's had some interlopers arrive, trying to get those initial shots, not landing.
You can see those traces flying well off the target, trying to clip him as he jumps out of the building, but now just TG, they know.
So they're in a split situation. Now it looks like Mossy and CeeLo are going to have to run across and help out Mortify, who's just looting away. Only with the VSS so far. Refund not entirely interested in taking this fight just yet. They, again, missing some equipment, need to get that a very important helmet, that vest as well. But they have to keep tabs on Team Gates.
Yeah, I'm actually almost happy that Mortify has this VSS. If he can come back into this fight, Refund won't know where any of these shots are coming.
I love
Mossy
those tracers.
actually
That
able
looks so
to
sweet.
connect. Miyoyu, he'll have to run inside the building, and yeah, they do look very, very nice.
So Mortify getting that information from his teammates. He's aware, I imagine, where both Funky and Miyoyu are. CeeLo pressing. This is a situation where Team Gates can actually surround them here if they're careful.
He's pushing so hard and fast. They just wanted to get to the close wall. And Refund, there's still one player down, remember. They've already been clipped up a little bit.
Funky M has to back away from this. Really liking the way that Team Gates is applying pressure. And in this case, it looks like Mortify is going to come out and steal one.
VSS
the
to
VSS
work.
guy. Got to watch out for him.
What are you going to do, Funky M? Mossy is on the hunt. They know where he is.
Oh, he's turtling here. Looks like he's going to wait to see if they push this building.
He's in a really weird position to try and peek. You normally want to peek on that right side. But instead, he's just leaning the wall, wait for them to run in a little bit more of an unusual position. But here comes Mossy. They check the other side first. Oh, okay.
Oh, no, the
he
Molotov.
Walked into the Molotov. He can know the knockdown is there.
1G's in the chat, unfortunately for Mossy, as he does go down to that Molotov somehow. But
Funky.
Still there, you know. Sometimes mistakes happen.
Oh, Funky knew. Now Mossy running closer. Mossy is real low on life. Does he actually have any kind of meds on him?
If you think team fighting with other people is hard, just worry about that Molotov from your own teammates.
Mossy is solo. This is such an easy knockdown as well as finish kill. He can get the 15 points quite simply.
Oh no, Mossy! Unfortunate turn of events, and now all of a sudden there's no trade for CeeLo. He's going to have to now deal with this one-on-one. That's why you stick together. They knew someone was around. They must have heard those footsteps. But now it's going to be a quick hit for them, and they've had reinforcements arrive as well, and this has turned into a situation where Team Gates is now outnumbered.
Yep, and maybe now it's worth the time to try and bail out. This is not inside the circle. They have to head a little bit further east in order to get back into the fight. At the same time, there's a lot of teams who are still happy to be outside the circle. So yeah, just escape out this one. Larson, I think WTSG actually knocked a player out. They fell from a cliff or something. But there's a lot of northwest traffic which is going to start coming in. It's going to come through Myth, and it's actually going to come straight past this school area we've been watching. At the same time, same thing's happening on the southwest. There's the OMG run as well as AHQ, and Na'Vi still have not left Primorsk.
So as far as this map and this circle is concerned, there's a concept here called map pressure. That's where all these migrating teams are going to have to travel through, and pressure begins to build on that edge of the play zone. You can start to see that in the center where Team Gates and Refund have just been fighting. Myth is now transporting themselves through that area, and even Chiefs are there. So this is a situation now where as Liquid tries to get south, they're going to be dealing with fights that are happening all around them.
I'm liking how Lion KK has already moved himself into a really great position at the start. So when AHQ decides to actually make that push, it's going to slow them down. That OMG is going to come in, but they're just going to make it a bumper-to-bumper traffic. There's going to be peak hour on the southern road of the main island if Na'Vi comes in behind him, because that's where U-Bar is currently headed. And Na'Vi will love this situation because they need some points. You see it right now. They're number 7 in the total rankings, and they want to improve this.
Avangar in a similar situation, albeit further down the leaderboard, where they maybe want to decide to play the edge of the circle in this situation. Because of the large amount of water involved here, they're going to have to try and decide, where do we want to guess where the circle is going to go, north or south? In this case, there's more land in the north, so for them, coming in on the edge is kind of hedging your bets to see what happens on this first shift. But now that center zone is starting to pile up, and it looks like we're going to have an AWM get onto the field here if they can defend it.
Yeah, they'll take the suppressor along with it too, but Knights, they're the ones trying to hold up. Everyone's actually coming through the north. Even Liquid moved very quickly out of Pollyanna, and they come down very, very fast into the smack bang middle of that circle.
Liquid looking like they're going to maybe stop it. Bisa has circled around trying to avoid the pressure he's receiving from the Knights. But they are now kind of, they're not making really strong decisions here. Looks like they're going to try and back it off. They are staying relatively close together, so this is a good play from Liquid. They've seen too much pressure in that area. They want to stop at these yellow cabins, kind of hang out and reassess the situation.
Surprised they didn't try and take the hill position instead.
They couldn't. They just couldn't get up there. I mean, I think they were getting too much pressure on the way through from the Knights and the other teams in that area.
Yeah, but AVG's coming in from the north, and they can easily take that hill if they can work it out. But everyone has started to condense. Navi's moved a little bit further north to come into the western circle, so they won't get that bumper traffic, but OMG still going to come in behind. But everyone's taking nice positions. We still have 78 people alive. 8 minutes of play that's already gone through. So everyone's just starting up, waiting for this encroachment and waiting for the next circle to shift.
The Knights are using this little spot with the Wizard Tower as a choke point. They're trying to get those kills in rotation. The Knights are very aggressive, and getting those vehicle kills is a good way to pick up kills early. As we can see exactly that. Some shots ring out, and they will go down.
Yep.
Sims in. Unfortunate for him. Not going to make it through. And finished. Woo.
Chalk up the first kill for him.
So OHM playing a little different than we saw earlier.
Yeah.
All together in the same house. They're not playing those odds like we've seen in the past.
Well, it's like, hey guys, I think the odds are pretty good considering 50 to 60% of this circle is water. So it's a little bit more advantageous for them. Captain needs to go back to driving school, flips his car at the same time. The AWP goes to work. CHF gets knocked, but it's this big attack on Xiaorong moving over the hill. That car is starting to smoke, but he is in defilade in potential cover. But is he
Can't
really?
find anywhere to go.
Mistrust is there. Nowhere is safe. These cars just flying up the mountainside. And it's actually Zhao Hai who's being chased down by the rest of Mistrust.
Xiaorong still trying to find a place to stop. He will find this Wizard Tower and escape, but his team, it's that Zhao Hai goes down on the way past as well. And Spit is going to pick up a kill here. No support for Zhao Hai.
Yeah, but he'll go down, blowing up with the car. Easy for Svit to finish the job. And that's now 2 kills for Myth, claiming that first road kill and now the extra.
You can see that they can hold these positions outdoors without being punished too badly, just based on that vision that they're getting. And now we're seeing that center zone really start to pile up with teams, and it becomes this peaking battle and a war of attrition where one team is just taking jabs at another, trying to get rid of those helmets, those vests, and try to erode those meds that are going to be so important later in the game.
Yeah, I actually kind of love that position from Myth. As you said, like, they don't really get that punish because there's so many trees to work with. There's so much defilade on that hillside too, and there's positions to fall back to. I say that as TMH goes down, locked inside the building, and this is the man who did it, Chelita.
So for Genji Gold, they have a nice little split hold here. Looks like OHM is not going to want to press this any further. They do have some utility. I'm not sure if they're going to throw a smoke grenade or they're trying to bait shots. But for Genji Gold, they have so much map control in this area. They have all these compounds held around this small mill to power region, and they have no real contesting forces other than Savage, who's kind of interloping with them right now. But Na'Vi, having made the long trek, find themselves in the center of the play zone. Looks like they're going to take the shelter.
Yeah, they're actually wanting to go under. It's inside the zone for now. In fact, it's quite nicely inside the zone. 4 AM are doing their beach run, getting a little bit of a tan on the way through. Trying to wrap around the back of the coastline. There is no one down on that south side, as CGX also doing the same type of thing. This is a road show at the moment in the southeast corner of Arangel.
Way 4AM is maneuvered. They've put themselves in that very important coastal area. Not too close to center, however, but we'll see how this first circle shifts. But for WTSG, they're playing the tempo dip, something we've seen in the past. This is a very important map location. It's great for cover, but the best thing about it is that with this third-person perspective, they can use it to kind of look around without really exposing themselves, whereas typically, even though this position gets played a lot in first person, you don't have that benefit. So for WTSG, this is going to be a good hold for this early game.
You could even see Knights, they had an angle to shoot down, but they just gave up on it so quickly. So the circle does encroach. We are still moving a little bit further east, keeping a large amount of that circle as water, but it's still just tightening things up. It's not forcing too many teams into really bad positions. But the guys who are trying to run the west, like Black, as we're running on board with them now, they'll have to go a long way in as Liquid. They'll love their position. They've taken both the hill and the yellows, giving them such a great angle with this 2-2 battle.
They were rebuking CGX as they were trying to get closer to them. Looks like they are going to disembark their vehicles and try and take this to Liquid. Aries in the ridge position, kind of using that vision to see where Liquid is in this compound. Liquid does have the high ground. It looks like Aries is going to want to reposition a little bit more. CGW, however, getting involved with the Chiefs.
Just trying to run past through as quickly as they possibly can. The Australians on the run, not a surprising sight as they actually go through.
Avangar's there as well. Keen, however, can't really do anything about this, but McCoy is going to have to deal with now Myth crashing his compound, the Wizard Tower under assault.
Thank God he is on a higher plane of existence up in the hillside. He's closed up the door, but they can just charge up Myth. It is a full siege. McCoy, he needs friends, and right now there's not many around him, and the perfect grenade. McCoy will get knocked and he'll be executed.
Unfortunately, they are going to get some support. Profi's nearby, but they're going to knock him as well. The support from Ghost not quite there. Turtle will go down as well. This is disaster for Ghost.
They're losing Profi too.
No!
Knocked him out, and just the side of Turtle. It was showing around the corner. It gets hit in the ass.
So unfortunately for McCoy, he got stuck in that building. He's still alive. The rest of his teammates haven't made it, but they're going to finish him off shortly. And now it's going to be Ghost now losing 3 players just like that. Balak, the last man standing, is going to have to make a run for his life. He's got the utility down. The meds are going out. Myth lost nothing in that engagement. It looks like, unfortunately for Ghost, they just didn't have the support there when McCoy went down.
This could be just another round for Ghost. They just don't like it. Balak will have to play for position. And, well, it was rough for them in round 2. First round was fantastic. It was a win, but since then, it is not coming up roses for them. But the Honey Badgers definitely got a lot of information on Mythtrust as they pushed in towards the Watchtower, but it's just not worth the push just yet. The encroachment is coming. The circle is starting to restrict.
Every time we see Wick, he's prone somewhere. Just either in grass or in smoke or lurking somewhere.
I'm prone, I have 6 grenades, and I got 30 bullets. That's all we really need.
It's his comfort zone. He is always ready to unleash on anyone who comes near him. OMG picking up a nice compound here, relatively uncontested. We did not see too much of that water come out. It's still relatively centered off the last play zone. So for 4 AM on the coastline, they're in a good position. Savage as well, but the Knights, they're using that Prison Ridge. As James tries to resurrect his motorcycle. That Prison Ridge so important for the Knights. But Avangar is in a kind of a weird split here as well. Keen's still in that little shack.
It's like they just want to take the main road.
Yeah.
Like collect the toll from any team that comes through, toll being people's lives. And Na'Vi, they could also be finding themselves pincered. Like Knights is on the eastern side of the ridge while Na'Vi's on the west. Depending where this circle does shift will depend on if they have to be pushed out. But it looks like Knights should be safe no matter how this circle does shift.
Liquid opting for map control in the northern portion of the play zone. Not using hard cover like we've seen from Gen G Gold. But they do have a decent amount of control here. CGW not too far away, but there's just no real motivation to take fights right now as most teams have relatively good cover.
Man, I'm loving this position from 4 AM. They did the whole wraparound. They were the guys that ran across the beach, then pushed around the eastern side of Milta, so they could take this rock ridge and still then even grab the buildings a little bit further to the west. They're in such great positions, again, with this 2-2 split. They're always able to back each other up, and the position for the circle should be really nice for them.
Na'Vi looks like they've taken over for the Knights who were here before.
Yeah, and they're looking at the western front. So that's Black as well as welcome to South George. That's going to be the push up the hill. And how quickly does South George reply to this? Because Na'Vi has already started laying into them. As they go up the hill, you see those yellow Na'Vi traces flying over their heads. Black does not have the angle yet, or maybe they do.
Miracle does go down. The circle has shifted. A lot of that water coming out, and we have gone center. This is looking good for 4 AM from a positioning standpoint, but for Gen G Black, they're using this ridge and their vision to really put it to WTSG, who is trying to transition in the open, and they're just not having any flank support, and now it looks like Miracle is going to be trapped out by himself.
There is just nowhere to go. This is the ultimate sandwich, and if they head down towards the south, actually, they just have to go into lumber.
Na'Vi's coming over as well. They hear the shots. They're interested to know what's going on. Larson and Gaxi just
the Liquid run.
Oh, here comes Liquid.
This is almost face style, just charging through in the Scoop, rolling it now. Someone take 5 points from his license. Scoop comes back out again, but it's all AFG. They're just ripping through them, and CHF's on the other side where Liquid were going towards. They're getting mowed down. 1 already dead, 2 knocked out. This is a nightmare for Team Liquid.
It really seems like teams who abandon those vehicles early are benefiting from those not losing guys in rotation. Scoom unfortunately rolls his vehicle, but they have lost Samty as well, so now only 2 left, but Refund, oh!
Yoppy, he's on the roof, he's got the high ground, Obi-Wan style, already able to clean up 2 of Refund, 3 of them gone, actually 1 of them killed off, only 1 of them left knocked.
Oh!
And Refund, they're losing the house. Lever Remage to get himself in through the ground floor. But that's it.
Refund, yeah.
That's it, they're all gone.
CGW doing well to defend there and really kind of take over this compound as Genji Black now also on the way through. They must have heard something or at least seen some action as they're going to veer off away from this compound. Smart pathing from them.
It's smart pathing. They can take that top of the hillside. It'll still be in the northern part of the circle, but at the same time, CGX is now going to run the real gauntlet because you've got 2 of them going to come straight through it and then into Knights. It's a full kill zone on the northern side of the circle. And yeah, Black has done a full 180 and switched around to run the western side of the circle down.
CGX just trying to get through.
Have they actually done the full drive? Gaxi and Balok, they don't see each other. Now Balok will Gaxi got into the tower. Balok whiff.
Unfortunately for Balok, here comes the grenade. He follows up. I think it'll land a little short.
It's short. Gaxi's still going to jump out.
Anyway.
No, he's on top of it.
Oh, Gaxi!
The nade is going to explode right on top of him. He thought it went in. Eclipsed the heels.
Where is the support from the rest of WTSG?
They're on the hill. They've got great eyes to watch Gaxi die.
There's nothing right now. Here comes a follow-up grenade, and James is behind as well. WTSG, very passive, is not going to go in the window here, but it's going to get them away from that area. So for Vard and Larson, I think they're just not really ready in a position to deal with these. Essentially, something they don't know is a single player. So
this is a nice angle. Trying to actually blow up the car and get these instant kills onto CGX, who are in this horrendous defilade. As long as AVG can find the lines, clip the tire, pop the wheels, and that momentum from Sheehan Blue just stops right now. If they blow up the car, he should explode as well, and they're pumping into it around the side. He's already knocked.
Inuctive on the high side flank. He's trying to secure this kill.
And he got it.
Keen will finish it. Yeah, that's nice for them.
Avanga, 3 kills so far.
This nice, you called it a checkpoint. That's a great call for that. There's nothing they can really do to get people to get around them because they'll be funneled right into the Knights. CGX had to stop, and CGW not too far away as we see the circle shift a little bit further inland. This is looking okay for Liquid and all those teams around the center, but Na'Vi is full force in the new play zone. Team Gates is completely zoned by them. They have no easy path to come in.
Man, if you're a Lumberjack, you're okay right now. This is the perfect position as well as the end of the convict train. Ares needs a little bit of extra assistance. Rio can't really get to him. As AVG already starting their move up the hill. Everyone from Milta must bail. Anyone that was still left behind has to get out.
Team Gates is right there with Na'Vi. They've been spotted. Ilane got that nade primed. Looks like a good throw.
He got 2 of them in the last round. This one's going to go a little bit long and already. Yeah, he got knocked out on top of the tower. Very problematic because it's difficult to get back in there to actually save him.
Team Gates has struggled with team fights, and Mortify on their flank. Security goes down. Now it's going to be up to Silo and Exco to deal with this issue with Na'Vi, but it looks like that second nade did. Oh, no, it didn't go on either.
It hit the stairwell. He threw out another one, but I don't think he's managed to get it into the bottom with Ilame. It's just Molidor who's going to go down, burnt out.
Uba and Drainies aren't coming over. Uba and Drainies do not want to support right now. I think they're worried about what might happen on their flank. Drainies now using that hill just to kind of decide where that fire is coming from. Meanwhile, Savage.
Yeah, AHQ, they actually knocked themselves. K3 knocked himself out with a car, and then the rest of Savage just opened up on the rest of the players moving in. M4, he's going to be a little bit far enough away from that nade, but really, he's got one last player left doing the charge through with Wason.
So for 4 AM, they've come off the coast and are now moving into the play zone. Savage is right there. The Knights also getting involved. CGW still trying to get away from that withering fire. You can see now 4 AM has come all the way up as AHQ takes one down. Godfeed does get eliminated fully.
That wasn't their plan. And now Captain as well, the man who has fun driving.
That was a quick a little quick scope there.
Quick 180.
M4 is down. Aluka is right on top of them, but they're just trying to deal with this flanking winner who's behind them.
They're worried about that car blowing up.
Here comes that nade. The utility's gone. They can't. He's wide in the open now. Winner is not actually. He's looking right at Captain. Ooh,
grenade.
Aluka does go down. Savage also getting involved. For 4AM, they came into the play zone, but now they're getting shot on all sides.
Yeah, Full Angry Man had a great time last time, but now it is the ultimate
they're in
pincer.
trouble here. Oh, wow. Unfortunate for Gukin and Aluka. They will go down. That grenade landing true. So nice couple of pickup kills there for Savage.
That's 6 in total now. Nicely spread out across absolutely everybody as that circle.
They have Captain zoned as well as Winner, who will go down to Captain, unfortunately, or actually goes down to a vehicle by himself.
Yep.
Captain was shooting at him, but for Winner, he's down and out. Savage has a great position here on the edge, but the Chiefs have them zoned as well. It's a battle for supremacy around the lumber camp. I think that we talked about that in the early game.
We did. Would it be really nice to have a lumber finish?
Yeah, no doubt. So for the Knights still kind of jousting. Wow, that's a pun. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. CGW is there as well.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. Yeah, but this is actually a great position for Na'Vi. As you come into the lumber mill, it's the western side who has the high ground position, and they've got a lot of cover to work with. But they need to deal with Gate, who is sitting behind them. While Myth Trust, we kind of forgot about these guys.
They've all been prone.
just waiting for the fight to come their way. But it's Honey Badgers who are looking to try and just knock them off their perch.
Fast rail, using that ridge cover. We've seen this so much through this game, where that vision is so important in using that natural cover to kind of get around your enemies and navigate. OMG holding on to the supply crates around the road. They're aware of Avangar, who's got a nice position in this bowl, but they're going to have to either come towards OMG or go up this hill to get away. They're currently in the play zone, but they're going to have to deal with them. There's nowhere to go around. OMG's going to have to come through them, or they're going to just have to deal with the flank the rest of this game.
Man, Avangar look like they've taken so many hits. You know, I think I counted like 2 helmets between them.
Oh, here we go.
And now CGW Knights have finally got that high ground. Perfect position.
Dre.
Looking for the quick picks. He's got to actually hit the targets, however. They managed to get themselves back behind the blown up cars. Not even anything to knock off, apart from Yoppy knocking the head of Dre. That'll send him in a spin and med.
So all these blown up cars are indestructible cover, and that was actually for CGW a huge bonus. Marimo is down, but he can be rezzed. But the Knights are going to put withering pressure onto them. They're in this high ground position. All they have to do is avoid giving them that full upper body peak that is so dangerous in this situation.
And Knights
all they have to do
kills.
is wait.
Knights need so many of those kills. They haven't
talking
claimed
about
any
the
right
Chiefs,
now. It's
yeah.
the same thing for Chiefs. They've only managed to claim 1 kill, but this is a nice opening for him as Savage scuttling around almost the ruined forest to the north of the Yellows.
So for where 4 AM was before, the Savages find themselves now. They cannot get into the play zone. Chiefs have them. Oh, there's that nade from the Knights. Cleaning up CGW. That is it.
Windfall is very far out. The flank is coming in too from Savage, trying to find that nice angle.
Oh, they're cleaning up OMG as well. Looks like Lion has to back off. He's got that Car 98 Silent going down, unfortunately. So now it's up to Lion. The play zone is there. He's going to use the vehicle. It's only got 3 wheels.
Yeah, maybe the bike was a better option at that point. Pick it up and go, but he'll be running the long side out. And I don't think Lion K is going to get very, very far in this very destroyed buggy. 2 wheels gone. Spin it around.
Oh, he jumped out.
He did. And maybe he can just die to the blue.
Oh, the Knights are coming. The Knights are coming now for Avangar.
So is Savage. They found the line over towards Lion, and you won't find that one. Lion K denies himself to the blue.
So for Avangar, they found themselves now being flanked by the Knights, again in a similar position to what they just found with CGW. Now the Knights are in the high ground, but meanwhile, Na'Vi and Myth have just been kind of waiting. Team Gates holding desperately onto the edge of the play zone. And for now, it's all the action's on the eastern side.
There's like Golden Savage. They both are still outside the circle. It is encroaching. 48 seconds left of that encroachment, and they can't find their way up the hill. As the battle can happen between Liquid as well as WTSG over the side, but it's all about the east. Who can get themselves inside this circle? And Golden Savage are eventually, Savage actually pushing so far over, they're going to start walking on top of Gold's feet.
So for Savage, looks like they got zoned by that Molotov.
And there it is.
Throw.
They're pushing in through the side. The angles are coming 3 ways as Chelata going huge.
Savage is in
and
trouble.
He's just cleaning them up. Savage was not ready for Gold to be there. And they're being knocked so hard, but it's a rock in a hard place.
3-way fight here happening. Savage only 1 man left, trying desperately to jump away, but now he's got to be careful. He's got the zone at his back, and he needs to med.
He's only barely coming in, but Critical can see him, and he'll finish it off. Savage are eliminated in 13th position. They still claimed 8 kills out of the round, so that's nice for them.
This battle up the hill for these teams has been a disaster for them. Avangar now still being completely zoned by the Knights. They continue to shoot at them. They have to use those meds. Their vests are being destroyed. The Knights are just trying to get as much damage. You can see Inuktiv doesn't have a helmet anymore. This has not been good for Avangar.
That Liquid Rabbit Foot's paying off. The Circle is right on top of their position. Everybody comes to Liquid. Na'Vi can run the side, the Circle. They'll be happy with that. They've got the western side, while Welcome to South George have to hold the yellows to the southeast corner. Everybody else needs to find a defilade, a hole to come in. And well, there's a hole in the side of Texas's head. They're taking so much damage on the sides. The bleed out is going to be so quick. And Knights starting their movement. Avangar looking for the Knights line, but they're not going to find it. In fact, it's Texas who's doing it.
Shoots an Octave in the head. He's still definitely no helmet now, but as far as Texas is concerned, him also without a helmet.
You can see him, clip him.
He's trying his best, but Avangar's got all the utility down already, and it's not in a good position to get all the way away from Texas. He's got a little bit of an angle, just looking for that shoulder.
And
but
the
more
extra
shots. Oh,
he got Muminar. The res will be in. They're in semi-cover, as Knights don't have the angle on them that they want.
Not a lot to deal, or not a lot to work with here.
The Circle's coming.
Oh, Voxic will finish it off.
Yep.
So now 2 left stabbing for Avangar. I really like how Knights have been playing this, slowly coming up this hill, maintaining that vision, that high ground spot. And Voxic,
Na'Vi, you're in trouble. They're in a 3-way engagement. Black came in from the north. You've got Gate pushing in from the west, and way to South George. They're all the way on the far side of the circle, but they still had the angle to get the knock and kill.
The Knights are not relenting. They do not want Avangar to come in here, and that is not going to happen as Avangar is eliminated. And now for the Knights, they have all this real estate to work with, and now they've set their sights on Genji Black.
Man, what a position for Na'Vi. You've been wrecked from the sides, hiding in the smoke as Gate pushed through. Gold, they've found Myth Trust.
Grizzly.
Only with a knock, though.
I think he's got vision on that line of sight there. Looks like he's going to have to stop and med.
It's a little low onto the defilade.
They're like guerrilla warfare here. Only, like, they have 3 kills, and it's always come from flanking a random team who's in the middle of another team fight. So really nice usage of that opportunity. But for Honey Badger Nation, they've got a nice little spot in this Wizard Tower, and they're looking towards the last man from Genji Gold.
I hate to tell you, Chelsea, you're going to crawl a lot faster than that if you're going to get yourself in. And yeah, he knows it. He's just running right on top of Minoru.
Corpse delivery.
Actually gunned down by the Honey Badgers. It was all the way from the eastern side. It was Wick who found the kill, the Nade Master. But Knights, they've already chalked up 8 kills, looking to get a little bit more. Only 2 bullets left in that arm.
And there's Balak. So from the beginning of the game, has not moved.
There are so many cheap places around the logs. This is a lumber mill where they do not keep it clean.
Trey's got that level 3 helmet, but I think he just took one off the side of the head there. Genji Black has made a little bit of headway, but still find themselves in a position where they have to move to the zone. Liquid has a great spot, but I don't think they have the firepower to deal with the amount of players that are going to be pressuring that northern and southern portion.
But this is when the third person's able to help you out. You can pick your fights well. You can just hide in cover. As long as no one's got utility to throw grenades at you, you can play that watchtower position.
Genji Black has to make something happen here. The Knights will get position on them. You can see Dre on that flank, and they will unleash on the UAZ.
That's not enough to bring him down, however. Only knocked to half life.
Genji Black moving up the hill. That was a nice little move from them. A little bit risky, but they have not made the zone yet. They still have to try and sneak in. Dre is trying to grab these little kills there, and he will. Sexy Pig will go down.
That's the knock. Looking for the third knock in the back, seeing the head, but cannot connect. Dre's got to be careful.
He's got to back off, yeah. Yunroot providing cover. A little bit of support there.
Looks like Knights are running low on ammo, too.
Texas is so far away now. He's come all the way around. It looks like he's going to try and push by himself, or at least grab some information for his team. Meanwhile, looks like Mortify has gone down from Na'Vi. But Genji Black, now they're in a position where the circle is going to force them to move. They have to move into the play zone.
Hilariously enough, Ubar's actually in a great position. He's right on the edge. That box is inside the zone, and TG have to move to him.
In the same position. They're stuck now. Genji Black is giving them trouble.
Oh, coming in from the side. They're all around the same rock.
Oh, that nade bounce!
Oh, it's around the corner and over the top of them. TG, they're down to 1 who's left alive with the blue circle. Look at the chunk.
It's really going to be hard for him to get in now. Silo down to the zone.
Black was able to get rid of Na'Vi, so they managed to at least open up that pathway in. And there goes TG, eliminated in 9th position. Gates is gone as Knights continue the chalking.
They're rolling right now.
Yeah, Champs, the ones who are holding that hillside for so long, is going down as Balak.
Picked one up there. Balak now down.
And that's Ghost down too. They're out.
That snake, it worked as best they could. Minoru. Oh, and the Knights are still going at them.
Honey Badgers, they're getting wrecked from multiple sides. WTSG, they've actually found a nice place. They drop a little bit more utility to hide inside the rocks as this circle is ending its encroachment. And they're worried about that northwest side.
Looks like Black is still up there. They've made their way in. Teamgate's going down was a huge pickup there. Now it's Honey Badger Nation and the Knights going at it. This has been a super active game for the Knights. 12 total kills.
Volsek is just trying to get something back here against the Honey Badgers. So many knocks. Utility has to be running down low as Black does the last little push. Larson, he's already been dropped down. They're trying to pick him back up again, but the run's coming in. He's got the shotty ready to unleash. Wait, he doesn't know! He doesn't know!
Here comes
He'll get knocked. There's one down. Bud's in the corner, and that's WTSG being eliminated. A perfect double barrel shotgun moment if ever I saw one. Goes
Genji Black has managed to stay 4 strong here. They had such a long travel distance, but now the Knights are getting it from them as well. Genji Black coming alive.
They can actually do this 2-2 split, having the numbers once again in the final circles. Only 3 teams remain.
Frame is down.
Knights is down to just Dre, and Dre, he's being pushed. He'll need a doctor pretty soon as Yoon coming in closer on him. He's using the third person perfectly. They think he's off a little bit further towards the left, and that's not what they're looking for.
He should be able to see Sexy Pig right on top of him, but they're not going to be able to trade. Dre goes down.
One last player left alive, Voxic, who's playing the range game. Sexy Pig, he'll get knocked down as well.
It's all on Voxic.
Is it going to be enough? Liquid still playing around the tower. Grammatic, he's coming close. He at least got the bottom area. He's going to throw that flashbang
Liquid's
up into
letting
the top.
this happen.
And Liquid, Gems wants to pop back out of there. It's only a flashbang, however. He can get gunned down on the stairs if he's not careful. Pulls out his own smoke grenade, but falling down. He's getting wrecked by Voxic, who gets the knock.
Here comes the follow-up smoke. Voxic just trying to get some cover for himself. Ibiza has to decide on the res or the cover. Genji Black not giving them any space. They are pressing on this wizard tower, and they want it.
It's down to only 2 teams. Liquid are licking their wounds. Grammatic wants to do the charge. He knows they're in the back room. He runs in, sees him around the corner, the spray in from the side, and Grammatic will get knocked down. That's 15 free points to Team Liquid.
2v2 situation. Looks like Genji Black has the ridge. Liquid having to deal with the fact that they just got pushed twice and attacked, but they will get the meds off. This is going to be now a 2v2 situation, and Black is getting aggressive.
Yeah, he's running in. It's the final zone. It's smack bang in the middle of this circle, the diamond square.
Ibiza needs to knock Yoon here. Esther will not have any maneuverability if Yoon goes down. It's super important for him to stay alive.
He is not finding the angle, however. No utility left. Every team has expended everything they had to get in this point.
Liquid trying to secure a victory here, but they have very little maneuverability. Luckily, there's no grenades left, or they'd be in that window right now. So for James and Ibiza, they're going to try and wait this out and force them into the open. They need to have that circle, press Yoonroot out of cover.
The funny thing is, because you actually have Black on the southern side of this fight, the circle is actually going to push further to the north, so Black's going to take more damage before Team Liquid will. It's the only advantage they have coming from this circle.
Liquid is playing this smartly. They need to be patient. Yoonroot is the key here. They need to get him down. Luckily, they know there's no grenades coming. Esther has the stairs covered, but all they need to do is try and get that down onto Yoon, and that circle is coming.
Yeah,
I think Yoon maybe has to try and make a play here. He's just letting the time tick away.
You got 1 minute left of this game time before this circle will murder everybody on the field. Yoon is forced into the fight, and Liquid know it. They know where he is. Yoon makes the run, and he'll get gunned down the trees. Now it's 2v1. Esther, he's underneath the tower. They just want to finish him. Get the 15 points if you can. Yoon will chunk very quickly once that circle reaches him.
They're going to go out the window. The trade.
Take it on the jump down. Gets the kill in flight.
Really well played. They jump out the window, the double peek, and they steal that game. Yoonroot was the key, and they got that very important down. Team Liquid grabbing this victory almost from nothing. All those kills coming at the very end of the game.
Yeah, and they only had 3 in total. Gemsy with 2, Ibiza with 1. Sampy and Scoom had absolutely nothing to show at the end of it, but they still claim #1 position. The circle definitely helped them, though. It really encroached on top of that tower and forced all the teams to play around that position.
Really impressed with Genji's Black use of movement. They were completely zoned. They had no way to come in, and just from Team Gates getting involved, they got that little sliver, that little window to get a foothold, and they used it. They continued to roll through teams. The Knights had a tremendous amount of kills. They had a great game, but really they just took too much damage. They were taking so many fights that Genji Black was able to come in and just kind of erode their positioning, and they get very close to winning that game.
And I just love how the teams are playing the edge of the circle, around the top of a mountain. Like, it was the peak that everyone, it was the ultimate king of the hill moment, and Team Liquid, they had the position, but everyone else moving around and just finding these flanks, finding these angles. It was almost unfortunate for some of the teams on their own rotations that they couldn't find a better position because there was no cover to work with apart from a very skinny tree.
Super difficult part of the map to deal with. Everything's uphill, and with that third-person perspective, just playing such a huge factor where you can peek around trees using tiny divots. Balak from Ghost actually kind of saved that round for them. It didn't really get them into the top 5, but they did have that opportunity to get further. But, I mean, that was a really interesting round.
Oh, well, I can't wait for the last round of the day. Of course, we'll be coming back for that in just a bit, so do not go anywhere.
For Balak, here comes the grenade, he follows up, I think it'll land a little short.
It's short, Gaxy's still
Gaxy
gonna jump
jumps up
out.
anyway.
Oh, he's on top of it!
Oh, Gaxy!
The run's coming in,
he's
he's
going
got
for
the
it.
shotting, ready to unleash. Wait, he doesn't know! He doesn't know!
Here comes
Very quickly once that circle reaches him,
They're gonna go out the window.